All right. Hello, everybody. This is Jay from the nonprofit Grace Roots with our monthly Be Strong talk for the month of April 2022. And joining you from beautiful downtown Grants Pass, or as it looks in my background anyways, I am very pleased that to introduce our special guest to do this month's Be Strong talk, Janae, who coincidentally was our very first Be Strong guest. She told her story close to 2 years ago when we first started this monthly series. And I'm especially looking forward to hearing her story tonight because I wasn't able to join and see her when she presented to us a couple years ago. So we started these about 2 years ago, then the pandemic hit, and like everybody else, we moved over to Zoom, and we've been doing them on Zoom with the exception of the first couple that we did. So Archie, why don't you say a couple of words about our Be Strong program and our guest tonight, and we'll get her started.
Sure. Thanks for everybody for being here. We so appreciate you and taking a little bit of your time out to hear some of these fantastic stories of people in recovery and people learning how to basically stand on their own and survive. And while we have a focus on the addiction aspect of it, the fact of the matter is that even if you don't have necessarily an addiction, it's difficult to do something. Like every day is a challenge. So what we did a while back, over 2 years ago, we thought about how we could learn from each other by having people come on, primarily people that are battling addiction, but we do have had other people come on that just basically give us some insight into what makes them strong. I gotta shout out to Camille here real quick, because I see her in the gym all the time, and I need to say, hey, I appreciate you, but she totally motivates and she's always working out, and that's one of the things that I know that keeps her strong. So from the first time, our first speaker was Janae, and I remember specifically one of the things that she mentioned, and I don't know if she'll mention that tonight, but she talked about how one of the things that helps her be strong is this association she has with breathing. When things get kind of out of hand or out of control, she just steps back for a second and starts focusing on her breathing. And 2 years ago, she talked about that. And I will tell you, that's something that I picked up a long time ago. So I want to thank you, Janae, for that. So without further ado, I'd love to hear about Janae. And she's somebody that's not only talking the talk, but she's walking the walk. This is 2 years later from her first talk. She's still going strong. She's still inspired so many people. She recently received an award from the Josephine County. I'm not exactly sure who gave that to her, but it was an award for all of her love and support that she's given to everybody that's battling different trials and tribulations, and obviously also battling addiction. So thank you very much, Janae.
And now I'm even more looking forward to hearing your story. So Janae, thanks so much for being here, and let's hear your Be Strong story.
Okay, so I'm Janae Dalzell, and I'm a grateful recovering addict who has chose to stay in long-term recovery due to the disease of addiction. My clean date is 4/6/2018. I'm going to talk a little bit at first about my environment growing up and like some of the battles and the stuff I went through growing up, and then I'm going to talk about what changed, what happened, and then like what I'm doing now. So I believe one of the first memories I had growing up as a child was a hospitalization. I had been diagnosed with like acute osteomyelitis. I was in the hospital for a while, and they ended up like shaving my head to fit another IV in my body because they couldn't put any more in my body. So they shaved my head to fit another one in, which was super traumatic, right? It was one of my first memories, and I was super young. Like after that, I'm pretty sure that I had a little bit of sexual abuse happen when I was younger, but I had blocked it out. So I don't really remember any of it. At 8 years old, my mom had left, and my parents had split up. And my dad was in a wheelchair from having surgery on his foot, which I ended up quitting school for a whole year to take care of him in a wheelchair at 8 years old. My dad like started drinking really heavily after that and started using methamphetamines. He was a musician. He played in a band locally here around town. So I grew up in like a party, super like rock star party lifestyle. I'd see people using methamphetamines and drugs all the time around me and drinking and partying. So I kind of just like automatically assumed that that was like what you were supposed to do. I watched my dad struggle with addiction, and he would use to cope with his feelings. And so like, I thought that, that was just like what you were supposed to do. And I was never shown anything different. So at the age of 13, I had witnessed my dad overdose, and he overdosed in my arms. Super traumatic, like screamed, "Help me," and then puked up bile and died. I ended up trying to give him CPR to bring him back to life, to like no avail. After that, I had gone to go live with my mom up in Portland, and she was still in her active addiction. And I was partying and drinking all the time. I think by that time I had already been to probably 7 different schools growing up. And that was like only at the age of 13. So I moved to Portland, and somebody had offered me methamphetamines. I had tried that and ended up getting addicted to it instantly right off the bat, because I was already preconditioned, right, to use drugs, right, to cope with my feelings. And so I ended up using for a couple years, started using meth then, and then ended up getting a flare-up in my hands and my feet, which was ironically like right after my dad had passed away. But I also was preconditioned from the bone disease too. So, but I ended up getting a flare up, and the doctors didn't really know what it was. I think I got diagnosed with juvenile idiopathic arthritis or something like that. And I had been exposed to, drugs already. And then seeing the doctors, I had been prescribed like pain medication right at a super young age. So I used meth for about 2 years, and my mom was still using. And I had, something had happened, and I had gone to her and asked her, told her that I wanted to move to my grandma's and get clean. And she actually chose to do that too. So my mom's been clean off methamphetamine since I was 15 too, which is really awesome. That's not like a story that everybody gets to say, that their parents got clean with them. So after that, my parents didn't really like teach me how to be safe and keep myself safe. I was exposed to a lot of older men that, would prey upon me, like growing up, and I didn't know any different, right? Like I wasn't raised like in a routine or a stable environment, or, how to have boundaries and keep myself safe or express my feelings in healthy ways. So that was like really difficult, right? Like growing up that way. And then I got pregnant with my daughter at 17. And I actually quit using meth from 15 to like 17, and then, or used it a couple times in between them, found out that I was pregnant. I think I had like done some meth, and like my body rejected it. And I was like, there's something wrong with me. So I ended up taking a pregnancy test and found out that I was pregnant with my daughter, Callie. And then shortly after that, got pregnant and had my son, Timmy. So I had I had 2 babies, really 11 months apart at the age of 19. After that, I ended up getting in a super toxic relationship that I had thought was, like meant to be. I didn't even know how to keep myself safe at that point. So like any relationship that I had with anybody was not a healthy relationship. Let's see. So I ended up in that relationship, and then ended up being with that person for a long time. And then slowly but surely my arthritis just kept getting worse, and I kept getting these flare-ups, and the doctors kept, I think I was on, at one point, by the time I was like 23, I was on oxycodone 30s, and I was getting like 305 of those a month. 100 milligram morphines, and 25 milligram fentanyl patches. And that was at the time of, at the age of 23. So I had just been kind of given that, as a result of me being in severe amounts of pain. And then growing up in like this criminality, right, and this trauma, and having these family members that were, I think there was actually like this one point where I thought that I was such a cool criminal, right? And it was just like this generational thing because I'm a direct descendant of the Dalton gang. They're like a bank robbing, the parts of my family that used to be bank robbers. So like, I thought that was like so cool, right? And I wanted to be a criminal, and like, I thought it was so cool at that point. And I ended up, realizing that, wow, hey, these things are worth, 20, 30 bucks on the street. I can get a lot of money for them. So at that point I started trading my pills for heroin, selling them. And I remember the first time I tried heroin, and when I look back at it now, it was like it had taken all my sorrow away, but also taken my soul at the same time. And then after that, it was like pretty much that was all I cared about, was heroin. And it didn't matter who you were, what you had. I was a liar, cheater, manipulator. I did anything and everything I could to get heroin and to get my next fix. There was even a point in my, being a mother that I had, even said it in front of my kids, like heroin comes first. That's like how serious my disease, was. I think I have a mugshot that's like, you can just totally tell that I am completely soulless and not, lights are on, but there's nobody home. So with all that, I ended up, I got pretty heavy into it and started like, trafficking it here locally. I started selling it because that's all I could do, to keep my fix. And I wasn't thinking about anybody else but myself. I was, selling it to people. People were ODing. There's a couple times that we had to like bring people back because they OD'd in the house that I was in. And I ended up somebody did a controlled buy on me. Thank God, right? Thank God for that person that did a controlled buy on me, right? And I had gone to Vegas and then came back, and I guess the raid team here had GPS my car and tracked both my phones all the way to Vegas and back. So they knew exactly where I was and what I was doing. And when they showed up, I just started crying. I instantly started crying. And when they came in, this is like that paradigm shift that I had when I realized that police are just, humans doing their job, right? I believe Matt Skaggs had, put a gun to my back and didn't believe me and trust me that there was nobody else inside of my house. And I was like confused, right? Like, why doesn't he trust me? And then I realized, oh, well, that's probably because he's a cop and I'm a drug dealer. That makes sense, right? But that was that moment of that paradigm shift of, I found the humanity in it instead of it being like, cops versus the bad guys, which was a huge shift in perception for me. They came in and they were like, more worried about my living conditions than they were, how much drugs that I had in the house. And that was huge too. It actually seemed like they actually cared instead of it being about, how much drugs and scales and all the, stuff that I had in my trap house. I think I had, drugs, but no toilet paper. Power was out, because I was like literally living in a trap house. Like, and during this time, my kids were next door with their dad across the street. Thank God that, he was able to be stable and take care of them, right? Why I wasn't. And I had called and made sure that, he was able to care for them when I wasn't able to. So after that happened, I ended up getting into, I got a drug court offer, and I was terrified, right? I was terrified. It was unknown. I had been running from myself and my feelings and had been raised in a certain environmental conditioning. I had no stability before then, no accountability. And so I remember getting into drug court, and somebody I was hanging out with was like, it's time to put your big girl panties on. And I was like, I don't know what that means. I mean, I found out later, right? So I got into drug court, and I was showing up, right? This program had told me just show up and pee in a cup every day. That's all you have to do. Show up, pee in a cup, and be honest. And I was like, okay. So I started showing up, and I was loaded every day that I showed up at Choices Counseling Center. I was loaded, head down, completely not even there and aware. I had missed a couple appointments, or I missed a couple UAs on the weekend, and then missed an appointment with Charlene Rapley, who is the drug court probation officer. I had missed an appointment with her, and she ended up like going to my house and getting inside my house to make sure that I wasn't dead inside, because she was worried that I had OD'd and died. I ended up turning myself in later that day, and she sent me to jail. I went to jail for 41 days. And during that period of time, I was able to detox off all the heroin and meth that I was on. I think that I was doing like an insane amount of heroin every single day. And, selling a lot of it to be able to have my fix. And so after that, I went directly from jail to on-track residential treatment, where I had actually learned that breathing technique, and my body started naturally doing it on its own. But so I'm sitting there, and it's like my first day there, and my counselor like pokes me, right, to see, right, like, do you have the guts to actually stay here? Let's find out, right? And so I get triggered automatically, because she's like, yeah, you guys are going to think alcohol and drugs are cool until you're holding somebody that's dead in your arms that you love. And so it instantly opened up my wound from my dad dying in my arms. And I like started breathing really, really heavy and like crying, and like didn't realize it. But throughout all that processing that I did, right, looking at all the trauma, right, and the criminality, and learning how to feel my feelings for the first time, I realized that I could breathe my way through it, right? And that I didn't have to use, right? I didn't have to use over a feeling, right? Whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, I didn't have to pick up a drug, and I was in a safe place for the first time in my life. I felt safe enough to be able to release all those things and talk about them. During that process, I started integrating back with my children. They started coming and seeing me on the weekends. I learned how to keep myself safe. I learned some boundaries, and I learned what boundaries were, right? Boundaries are for us, right? They're to keep ourselves safe, right? And to keep our relationships with other people good. There were some really successful counselors that were there. I remember seeing one of the counselors and seeing the certificates that he had on his wall. And I was like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. And he ended up telling me something like, we had a similar story, like his parent had OD'd too, And so I found that I was able to resonate, right, with this person that was successful and that was helping other people in the community. And, it gave me hope, right? I saw that, and it gave me hope that I could do it too. So I ended up graduating on track. I think I was there for 101 days. And I had got out. I was honest, right, and transparent, and teachable. I wanted to learn, right, what this disease was, and why it was trying to kill me, which helped me to learn like the disease concept, right? And it kept me. It was like I was in school. I kind of like took it as in like I was in school, right? Because here's the book on recovery and addiction, staying clean, right? And then the book on criminality and trauma and shitty patterns of behavior, and all the things that I had been used to in my life. So I knew right from there that I didn't really know a lot. So remaining open and teachable and honest is what kind of helped me through that process. I graduated, and I started attending meetings in drug court. I started going to 12-step meetings. I had gone to an NA meeting back when I was really young, but never went back. But so I had my first experience with the 12-step program when I was like 15. But I ended up going to meetings, right? And I was going every day, right? And I started listening to what people were saying, right? And how they were talking about, you are who you hang around, right? remaining teachable and being open and honest and, go into a meeting, right? In between, like go to as many meetings as you can in that one day, right? So you don't use in between the meetings. I ended up meeting Carol Stevens, who was my counselor. She ended up telling me to trust the process, which was huge for me. I had never really, felt like I had never really had like that kind of a connection with a woman before. And then I remember getting right out and getting into drug court. And I had learned like criminal thinking, right? Like, can I get away with it? Is anybody going to find out? Right. So if like I'm thinking those things, right, I got to call somebody and talk to somebody. And I had ended up trying to get a job with one of my old bosses that I actually used to clean Judge Baker's house with. And she knew I was in drug court, and she asked me to get her some drugs and said that she'd give me some insane amount of money for them. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I can make a lot of money right now. Maybe I should do it. And then I was like, no, I'm going to call Charlene. So I called Charlene, and Charlene literally came from where she was at and came and picked me up and took me out of that situation. And at that point I was like, okay, so here's a new rule, right? No old people, places, or things, right? Doesn't matter what it is. And that's one of the main rules that I kept, right? That I still keep today, that keeps me safe. And that was that whole mama bear thing, like I literally still call Charlene Mama Bear because she's, one of the safest people that I've had in my life. So I ended up doing the program. I had some of the most amazing experiences in the drug court program. I ended up doing a give back project for the Royal Family Kids Camp, where I ended up meeting like some amazing people. I was there for a whole week. I think the give back hours were like 40, and I ended up doing like 180. I ended up doing like the drama club, right, which ended up showing me that all these new experiences, right, that I could have fun in recovery, right, and I didn't have to use or drink or party to have fun. Going to the drug court activities and Boatnik and, doing these amazing things with these people in recovery. One of the things I was told in the beginning was to get in the middle of the herd, because if you're on the outside, you're going to get picked off. Today in my life, I don't associate with people that use and drink. Nobody in my life today uses and drinks, right? I only associate with people that are clean, that are successful, that are wanting to grow and evolve as a human being, which is super important, right? So did drug court, ended up becoming the drug court president, got involved in the mentor program there, and then ended up becoming the president. I watched Titan Marvel, throughout my time in drug court, and everything that he was doing for the drug court program and what he did for all the people that played softball. He was somebody that I admired, right, that I looked up to, that was doing the next right thing, right, and they cared about family. And that was like a huge, a following in his footsteps is pretty much what I did, because I admired the guy so much. But I ended up starting the step work about, let's see, I'm on step 11 right now. And I started my step work about a year into my recovery. There's a lot in the 12-step program that, I have been able to, it kind of like takes all the repressed, suppressed, rejected, abandoned, all these different aspects of ourselves from like our environmental conditioning and growing up, and then our patterns of behavior, and kind of like brings them to the surface for awareness. And then you start to become aware of them and aware of all these things, which gives you like the ability to see it in front of you and then look at it and change and grow. And that's, I have my relationship with my higher power today is incredible. I didn't realize that my higher power had been holding me this entire time. So my clean date is actually, which is crazy, but my clean date is the same day that my dad died in my arms when I was a kid. So 18 years later, I go to jail on the 5th and wake up on the 6th, and didn't realize it at the time, but that like divine synchronicity was actually like, you know, my higher power, like, hey, you know, you have a choice right now, right? You have a choice right now. You can die in your addiction like your dad did, right? Or you can choose to do something different, right? And leave a different legacy for your children. I think my counselor at On Track actually had me write that. She had me write a eulogy in, as in me dying in my addiction, what that would look like, and then me dying as a woman in recovery. You know, which was another one of those paradigm shifts that I got. So I ended up becoming the drug court president, and then ended up making all these connections with these amazing people in the community, right? Like Grace Roots, right? I even did some like volunteer work for them for a little while. You know, I did a commercial for Max's Mission. You know, like I've made all these connections in the community, and and the more that I've done the work on myself, it's brought me into the person that I was meant to be. I feel like the person that I was supposed to be, without all the, you know, addiction and criminality and trauma and, you know, all the things that, you know, I grew up believing was how I was supposed to be. I think there was a point in my life where I did think that I was supposed to die in my addiction, you know, and that's terrible, right? Like nobody wants to grow up and be an addict, right? And destroy families and destroy their community. And that was like a point that, you know, I had gotten to. Since I, let's see, so recently, some of the stuff I've been going through recently has caused me to change some of my belief systems, and remain more open-minded about some things that I have going on, like with my arthritis. So, you know, starting to like get back to take pharmaceuticals is like something that my sponsor's been working with me on. And so it's helping me to remain more open-minded right now, which is like what I'm doing to stay strong, because sometimes we get stuck in these limiting beliefs about ourselves or our lives, or like things that we should be or shouldn't be. And then we don't leave any room for any kind of, you know, any like evolving. We don't leave any room for evolving. So, that's kind of like what I'm doing right now to stay strong, is just trying to remain open-minded and evolve. So today I got my first job in recovery at the Grants Pass Sobering Center, which, you know, allowed me to, you know, start working with the police department. And that was really cool. You know, seeing what they do and like how they're really the heroes, you know, that helped me change a lot of my perception on that too. They, you know, seeing what they go through and what they do to help people. And that was a really awesome job, right? First job in recovery, like one of the first jobs I kept for like 9 months. I had never held a job before that. And then after that, or I'd worked there for like 8 or 9 months, and then ended up being wanted, right? Like these people wanted me, right? Like, what? No, you guys don't want me to come work for you. That's crazy. And that was like my first time that I had felt like, you know, accepted, right? And wanted, and really good about myself, right? And successful, right? Like, anyways, I got an offer letter, right? They wrote me an offer letter. Somebody offered me a job because they liked me and liked what they seen and liked, you know, the person that I was today. And it was incredible. I remember feeling so great, you know, being able to receive an offer letter from a company. So I ended up I started working for Choices Counseling Center, which is like, ironically, the counseling center that I went to when I was in drug court. And, you know, started learning and growing and changing, and ended up taking Titan Spot, which is the peer support, you know, for pretty much for drug court. And so throughout all that, right, like me having all this history of all these, you know, all the rough stuff, the rough patches and the suffering and the, all the things that I went to, right, finally like served its purpose, right? Like now today I get to take all my experience and all the things that I've gone through as an addict, as a mother, as a member of society, as a positive role model in the recovery community here. I get to take all those things, right? And I get to transfer them to somebody else, just like what was done for me. I know I'm like boasting about drug court, but it you know, it really is the program that saved my life. So, you know, because drug court had that mentoring program, and because they showed me how to have fun in recovery, right? And that I remember thinking that like I couldn't sing anymore. I couldn't dance unless I was drinking, right? Or I was high or loaded. Like I couldn't do all these things, but none of that was even real. Like, and I realized, you know, I can still sing today. I can still dance today, right? I can still go out and have fun. Some of my favorite parts right now is being able to do that and give back to another suffering addict. I hope that, you know, anything that I've said tonight reaches somebody, right, that's in that state and that's in that hopeless pit of despair, because I know what it's like to be there and think that, you know, you're only as good as, you know, dying in your addiction. And that's not real. Being able to work with other people and the people that I do work with, right, these amazing, wonderful, loving, caring, compassionate people that give back to others, which is part of the 12-step program that I'm in, is being of service, right? And so that means, like, you know, whatever it is, right, I'm going to say yes, right, or try my best to say yes, right, to help somebody that's suffering. So my daughter is 16 now, and she's driving around here, which is crazy. So there was a part in my addiction when I was up in Portland, and the sheriff had pulled me over, and I was with like these two guys or something. And the sheriff had looked at me, and my kids were like 7 or like 8 and 9. I think that was the first time I tried to get clean off heroin. But the sheriff had looked at me, and he goes, "You know that this guy right here isn't allowed to be around kids, right?" And I was like, "No, I didn't know that." And he's like, "Where's Mama Bear at?" And I didn't know what that word meant. I didn't know what that meant, right? And at that time. And then so like now, like my daughter had just said it the other day when I was gone for training for work, and she's like, "I just need Mama Bear home, and I need some mama lovin's." And I was like, yes, I made it to Mama Bear. Now I know what that sheriff was talking about. But that was like, you know, today I get to be safe, right? I get to be a safe place for my kids to go to, you know? And that's incredible, right? I get to watch my daughter win these awards and like, and start driving and you know, looking for work. And I get to be a present parent, you know, and that wasn't, you know, I didn't really grow up with that, you know? And so happening to learn all these new skills, right? And then like be able to transfer it, I had to keep people around me that did know those skills, right? And be able to learn to open up and ask for help, right? Like, cause I don't know everything. And so and sometimes I do have to ask. The 12-step program that I'm in has given me freedom. It's given me freedom from active addiction. In the 12-step step working guide that I have, it says that the disease of addiction is not actually the drugs and the alcohol. It's the obsessive, compulsive, and impulsiveness that leaves us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically in a state of decay. And so when I keep that in my awareness every day, if I'm being obsessive, compulsive, or impulsive, then I call somebody, right? So if like I'm obsessing on something in my mind for longer than a certain period of time, I have to call somebody and reach out and talk about it because my disease is manifesting. And so having that awareness and keeping that definition close to my heart allows me to stay in a state of like being in the present moment, right? And knowing that if I'm not living in the present moment, then I'm feeding my disease instead of feeding my recovery. And because of that, right, like I've been able to, you know, I've been able to stay clean, and that's amazing. That's a miracle for somebody coming from the environment that I did, with like no stability, never learning routine, all the trauma. You know, it's incredible to be here today and to be able to give back and do the things that I do and have these healthy relationships with people. And then also be successful, right? That doesn't happen, right? Like that usually doesn't happen for addicts. I think it's the guy that played Iron Man or something. He ended up becoming an actor, but you know, but he battled with criminality and addiction too, you know, so it's like there's a lot of people that have done this, you know, and that end up becoming really successful people. You know, and that the sky's the limit, right? There's like an endless amount of possibilities the longer that I stay clean and surround myself with people that are in recovery, that are clean, and people that continue to do the next right thing. And that gives me hope, you know, it gives me hope that I know that, you know, there's other things I get to look forward to, right? Like watching my kids grow up and watching them have kids. And, you know, my values are completely different than what they used to be in my addiction, you know, and now that's, you know, another paradigm shift, changing from, you know, heroin comes first to, you know what I mean? I come first and my kids come first, and I want to watch them grow, right? And become productive members of society. And yeah, this has been an awesome, amazing journey, and I'm super grateful to be where I'm at today. Like I said, you know, show me, one of the things I like to say, no old people, places, or things, and then also show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And an environment has a lot to do. It has everything to do with what we choose to do with our lives. And I see that more often than not now, you know, working in treatment, you know, and how much it takes for people to get out of their comfort zones and be okay with being uncomfortable, because you've got to be uncomfortable to be able to stay clean. That's, you know, one of the most important things that I've learned is, you know, being okay with not being okay and being uncomfortable. Yeah, it's really cool to be able to give that back to people. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Janae.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your story. So you took some cues from Iron Man. Should we start calling you Iron Woman?
I don't know about all that. I'm actually low on iron.
Well, anyways, I think it's fitting given what you've been through and how you've been strong through it. So thanks again for sharing your story. So now's the point where many of you know that are on here listening. You can feel free to unmute yourself, and let's give some questions and comments and feedback to Janae. Nancy, I see you there. Can you unmute yourself and make a comment for us, Nancy?
There we go. I just want to say thank you, Janae. Fantastic. I really appreciate you and what you're doing and what you have done. And you're just amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been so long since I've seen you. Hi.
I know. Too long.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for the time that you did volunteer for us at Grace Roots, and we appreciate that. And there may even be other opportunities in the future, depending on where we go. But
yay!
All right, so next up, feel free to unmute yourself, and let's give some more feedback to Janae.
My name's Tamara.
Go ahead.
My name's Tamara, and I'm an alcoholic also. Good job, Janae. I love getting these things in my my texting.
She froze.
Hopefully she'll rejoin us here again in a second.
Story with the willingness. So super proud of you. I love you. I love seeing everybody's faces that are still doing recovery strong. It makes my heart proud. So I love you, girl.
I love you too.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Janae.
Hi.
Love you.
Aw, I love you too, Kurt. Thank you. Aw.
So proud of you.
Thank you. Don't do it.
I am. I'm so proud of you, and I know your story, and I love you.
I love you too.
Just want you to know.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, mute.
Okay.
Well, I'll say something. I was one of the 4 guys that walked in that day at your trailer. And I'm glad you're at the point where you are in your life. I've followed you and you know that. I was telling Archie I was there when you talked this for the first time a couple years ago, and here we are again. And it's kind of funny. I see you out in the community and we hug each other, take pictures, and super proud of you. You're a champion. You're the example we use when we talk to people to get them on the road to recovery. So super proud of you. Keep it up.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you for what you do as well, Donnie.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'm going to share a little bit about Janae. So, my name's Kyla, and I am honored to be Janae's best friend, and work with her for 40 hours a week. And I just want you guys to know the reason why she's at this point in her life is because she chose the right people, and she chose the right people that would push her out of her comfort zone and want her to do the work. I've watched her grow incredibly with her sponsor, and she gives that light and love that like you just can't teach, that you're just born with. All of her experience shapes her into the person that she is today. Instead of fueling all of that history that she has, she uses it to like help other people, and she's completely turned it around. And I just love you, and I'm super proud of you. When I listen to you share, like I start like getting emotional because I can't even believe that like you're alive, like, you know, like you're an absolute miracle. And that absolutely shows you what happens when you get vulnerable and you start to do the work and you start to reach your hand out and ask for people to help. And I appreciate you for showing people that every single day and teaching me so much. And I just love you. I'm very proud of you.
Thanks. Dang.
I'll jump in real quick. Hey, Janae. Yeah. Camille sent me the link and was like, get on this. And I was like, all right, I'll get on there. And I'm glad I did. You know, I've known you for a while now. And like, I met you when we were both in the depths of our addiction. And like watching you walk the recovery, like you've been nothing but courageous and like diving into like your spirituality and self-growth. And it's amazing. You know, a lot of people will shy away from that. And like, I've seen you just explore it, you know, with no bounds, you know, and that's inspiring for sure. So especially, you know, to me, because like that's something that I struggle with is like allowing myself to kind of like discover that spirituality side, and like you're all about it, you know, and like talking about like rocks and stuff, you know, and stuff. I'm like, all right, I dig it, whatever, you know. But you know, I'm grateful for you. Like you do the work, and you do the work on a consistent basis. And when you see something that you don't like about yourself, like you figure it out, and you do the steps to be better the next day. And like, that's the stuff that I respect. So, you know, I'm grateful to be able to listen to your story today.
Aw, thank you, Amanda. That means a lot.
I'd like to say something if that's okay.
Yeah.
Janae, it's been an honor and a privilege. Girl, I'm super proud of you. I'm sorry I got in here a little bit late. I have this crazy freaking puppy. I know you know right now the pain. You can hear him. I apologize. I had the privilege of knowing Janae early on, like day one, crazy as a bed bug. And I say that with so much love, and sorry about my dog. Come here. I say that with all the love and honor that I can give you, because you, gosh, like coming from where you came from, and I don't know, sorry about my dog. I don't know that you guys, that many people really understand how far you've come. I'm sure some do, but to see you come from absolute insanity, and I mean that in the worst way, you know, this real dangerous insanity that a lot of people don't come back from. And so it's been a really cool opportunity to see that you don't have to be one of the people that are in the streets crazy all the time forever for the rest of their life. Because sometimes that's the story that ends up for us. Sometimes that happens for us, and that doesn't have to be yours. And I didn't know in the beginning, like it was dicey there for a bit, girl, if you were going to come back or not. And so it's been so neat. You're one of the most unique people I've ever met. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to watch that and to be able to participate in that journey. You inspire me to be as authentic as possible. Like you always talk about that with me, but man, girl, you're one of the most authentic people I've met. So just keep up the good work, because you're saving lives. Thanks.
Aww. That was the girl that poked me. She poked me.
Well, Janae, I just want to say thanks again. And, I'm a big Janae believer. Last couple months, I've been pretty busy, but there was a couple of times I called you because I had some ideas of maybe something else that you might be interested in doing. But you said it, and that is really the sky's the limit. And I think that you should don't forget about that. Don't forget about the fact that you're rocking this. You're an inspiration to everybody else. This community is so blessed to have you. I'm blessed to have you in my life, and I just hope that you continue on. And again, don't set any boundaries for yourself. You got boundaries. I understand that, but as far as where you want to go, I think that you can honestly go where you want to go. So, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Archie. Thank you.
Can I say?
For coming. Oh, sorry.
Can I say something? Am I on here?
Yeah, Mom, you're on there.
Oh, hi, honey.
Hi.
I don't know how to work this thing very well, but I'm kind of new to it. I just, honey, speaking of Mama Bear, I just want to thank you that I can sleep at night. That is the biggest thing for a mom, is to be able to sleep and not have to worry about our children. You have given me that. And that has been a big, big release for me. You're an inspiration to me. You have done things that I am so proud. I can't even say how proud I am of you, honey. You just keep rocking it every day. Every day you rock it. Keep doing it. And I did want to mention that you're not Janae Delzell anymore. You know that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Whoops. I haven't changed my name yet.
Oh, goodness, girl. I love you. And you keep up the good work. And thanks to everybody that has been there for her. Thank you to the drug court system. All of you guys that have been there for my daughter. I thank you so very much. And I love you, girl.
Love you too.
I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
Oh.
Man, thanks, Janae's mom, Wanda, for that. It's always so nice to hear the moms, because being an addict, we just know like our side. We don't know the mom side. We don't know the other side of what that coin is like. And so hearing that, it really touches my heart, Janae, you've come a long way. We knew each other getting loaded in all the bad ways, and there was something about you then that I really connected with, and you got me loaded, and I appreciated that.
That's terrible, dude.
But on a real note, seriously, so that's another thing that I love about Janae and I, is that we have a great sense of humor, and we are definitely two peas in a pod. We were made from the same leaf. I don't know what's going on, but we managed to have a higher power that watched over us when we were using, and brought both of us into drug court and saved our lives. And we got ourselves into a 12-step program that continues to save our lives every day. And I do have the pleasure, absolute pleasure, of sponsoring Janae. And what I can tell you about her is that she does the work. She wants to change her life, and so she puts pen to paper. And when she doesn't know, she calls her sponsor, she reaches out and she asks someone. She's willing, she's open, and she's honest. She's built a relationship with her family, her mother, as you can tell. She's built a brand new relationship with the man of her dreams that she didn't even know was the man of her dreams. Nope. And she's built a relationship with her children, you know, and she's really regained her life. And this is just the beginning. She just celebrated 4 years of clean time because she just doesn't pick up, you know. And I'm so incredibly grateful to know you as a person and to walk every step of this path with you. So thank you for sharing your story with people so that we don't have to continue to die inside. I love you. Bye.
I love you too.
Complete.
Aw, I feel so much love in here. Can't handle it.
Janae, I just wanted to tell you thank you for sharing. I'm over here crying. I'm at work. So I just want to tell you thank you. I do have to get off because I'm working, and I'm so glad that I got to meet you and that I get to see you out there helping people because you really inspire me, and I think you're so amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Tommy would say hi, but he's folding laundry right now and he's too insecure. Oh, there he is.
Wow.
Tommy, oh, he shut his door real quick. Tommy, say hi. Okay. I almost got him. Say hi real quick. Whatever.
Yeah, I didn't really mention like how much, you know, I've just been like winning. I forgot to mention all the stuff I've won. Like, I'm not a felon anymore. Josh Eastman and Judge Bain and Chris Mecca put it together for me to change my felony to a misdemeanor, and I'm not a felon anymore. I got married this year. Yeah, there's a lot of good things I forgot to mention, but yeah. Yeah. Pretty lucky. I'm doing that right now because my husband's sitting over there listening. I love all you guys.
Love you, Jay. Keep it up, poops.
Well, poops.
All right. Any final comments for Janae? I think most everybody that's still on here has said something, but any final comments?
Love you, Janae.
Oh, I love you too, Jimmy. I didn't know you were on there.
I just got on. I slept. I caught like the very last end of it. I ate dinner and I was getting ready, and then I woke up and it was like almost over. But love you. I'll see you Sunday.
Okay. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. That's another fun thing I do is ride motorcycles on Sundays. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. That was really cool.
Yeah, thanks so much for telling your story. And not to take anything away from you this evening, but we had a lot of other former all-stars from our previous Be Strong talks with us tonight. Yeah. There's at least 4 or 5 of you that anybody that happens to be watching this or watching the recording, you can just go to our the Grace Roots. Just go to YouTube and type in Grace Roots Be Strong, and you'll see the Grace Roots channel, and you'll see many of our previous all-stars like Kyla and Amanda and Camille and I think we had some others on here that have given our previous Be Strong talks as well. So thank you to all of you for what you do and telling your story as well, and being here to support Janae tonight. Great job, Janae. And we will talk soon. So good night, everybody, and be safe and be strong.
Be strong, yeah.
Thanks, Janae.
Thank you, Archie.
Good night, everyone.